What's up, guys? It's 2 cents and I'm back. So over time I've been playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Been playing that game for quite a bit. Sorry, let me get that. And it's helped me reflect on some of the Assassin's Creed games that I once played. So I want to talk about some of my least favorite Assassin's Creed games. And this is not to like, make fun of the games or like hate on Ubisoft or anything, because over time that their games have gotten a lot better. They've definitely done a better job with character development. I do like Eivor; he's pretty cool, or she, depending on which one you choose. But yeah, so I'm gonna go through some of my least favorite Assassin's Creed games. Spoiler warning for some of you who might not have played any of the games. Okay, so I'd say my least favorite Assassin's Creed game is probably Assassin's Creed 3. Reason why, there are two important reasons why. Connor was not too good of a character to me, in my opinion. You guys may have a different opinion, but Connor wasn't really he wasn't the type of character that was like really memorable, even though like people know. I'm not saying you're not going to remember him. I'm saying his personality wasn't memorable. He gave off like side protagonist vibes whenever I played as him, because he was just too serious. And I understand that some characters like are just really, really serious, but Connor was so serious to the point where there was just no room for character development. Like, I understood he had to grow and everything and learn how to like adjust to Achilles' training in order to become an assassin and everything, but he was so serious later on. The dude like he didn't change. It's sort of like what Ubisoft did with Watch Dogs. When they had Aiden Pierce. Aiden Pierce was a good character. I'm not saying Connor was a bad character, but I didn't like the way that he progressed through the game, because there just wasn't really any progression with Connor. Connor was too serious of a character. You look at the past assassins who come after him; they've learned over time, they've developed, they've done things in almost the same amount of time. Ezio was developing. At the end of the game, at the end of the second Assassin's Creed game, he was a completely different person. He was no longer looking for revenge. He was later committed to serving the Assassin's Creed, and he was a different person. And you see that because he has his own trilogy. Another thing that I didn't like about Assassin's Creed 3, I did not like what they did at the end, killing off Desmond. That's like spit at the time. This is how I felt at the time. That was like spitting in the faces of Ubisoft fans. Ubisoft was spitting in the faces of Assassin's Creed fans by killing off Desmond Miles. That was dumb. Why would you do that? Killing off Desmond Miles in Assassin's Creed is like killing off Harry Potter in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. They can't exist without that. You can't pull Harry Potter out of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Otherwise, there's no Wizarding World of Harry Potter. You can't pull Desmond Miles out of Assassin's Creed. And then they try to redeem it by coming out with Black Flag and giving you one of his past ancestors. And I think Black Flag, as much as I like Black Flag, I didn't like what they did at the time. Now, keep in mind, Black Flag is way better than 3. I love Black Flag. I liked the story. I thought the story was kind of short. Black Flag wasn't a terrible game. It wasn't the best, though. And I'll explain that later on. So, but with Assassin's Creed 3, why would you kill off Desmond? We've gone through how many games with this guy? And then you just kill him off? People loved this character. Why would you do that? Now, he died like a hero and everything. He's like a martyr and everything, but I didn't like that. It didn't work out. It wasn't the end that I was hoping for. And there's some theory going around that Desmond really isn't dead. His presence is still within the work of the Animus, which is all types of ridiculous right now. Are we forgetting that the Animus was programmed to access the memories of someone's ancestor through someone's mind? And now in Assassin's Creed 3, not Assassin's Creed 3, by Assassin's Creed Black Flag, you can just access someone else's memories. I didn't like that part either. What made the Animus unique was that you were able to what made it unique was that Desmond had a personal connection with his ancestors because he was the only person who could access those memories. Being a descendant, you had to be a descendant in order to access the memories. That made the most sense to me. But then over time, the Animus evolved, and you were able to, look at other people's memories, which is not really bad when you think about it. But I feel like it took away, the point of the Animus. It defeated the purpose of the Animus. Otherwise, they wouldn't have needed Desmond. So yeah, I didn't quite like that. So yeah, those are my opinions about 3. Now, my second least favorite Assassin's Creed game is Assassin's Creed Rogue. And I'm not putting these in any order. I'm just listing them. I'm not putting them in any particular order. Assassin's Creed Rogue. Rogue was not a terrible game. Believe me, it wasn't. I love the story. I thought the idea of having an assassin go rogue and rebel against them and switch sides with the Templars, and go to the Templars, I thought that was a great idea. I loved that idea. But to have like so many gaming mechanics reused was a bit ridiculous. And I think the reason why this happened was because this game came out the same exact year as Assassin's Creed Unity, which we all know was ridiculous, probably the worst Assassin's Creed game ever. Not for his story, but for his gameplay. That game glitched so much. I jumped in the air a couple times as Arno. I'm stuck in the air and I can't move. Their faces would break apart. You saw his teeth and eyeballs and everything. You know what I'm talking about. I never understood why. Because at the time, I was a huge fan of, I'm sorry, my camera's acting up. Dorgan. But yeah, like, I never understood why in the world are they coming out with an Assassin's Creed game every year. I love Initiative. I love seeing my favorite games come out every year. I loved Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed is my second favorite video game. My second favorite video game franchise. My first favorite is Grand Theft Auto because Rockstar and Ubisoft are right up there. Those are my favorite 2 gaming companies. But what they did with the Assassin's Creed games were ridiculous. When there was a point in time where they were coming out with an Assassin's Creed game every year. You can't do that. You have to put in a lot more work into developing a game. You can't just do that. Now, I guess I could let it slide because they had multiple companies working on these, but if they had just kind of, buckled down and done more, they could have made something even better than Unity. They could have made Unity better. Unity could have been a better game. Rogue could have been a better game. And the reason I didn't like Rogue was because the gameplay was exactly like Black Flag. There was nothing new about it except from the story. Nothing separated Rogue from Black Flag other than the story and a couple upgrades. Rogue is like Black Flag with upgrades. The only differences that I saw was the cannons you were able to man. You just couldn't man the cannons. You just couldn't man the manual cannons the same way the captains could in Black Flag. Instead, you shot them. You shot them a different you shot them a different way. Like, it was almost exactly the same. But I loved Rogue. Rogue was a good game. It wasn't terrible. I just didn't like that it was just like Black Flag. The running was the same. Some of the fighting was the same. The ships, like all the battleship stuff, like that was the same. All of that stuff was reused, and I think it's because they were working on Unity and they needed to like force out an idea. And I'm not hating on Ubisoft, believe me, I'm not. Ubisoft has come a long way. Otherwise, I wouldn't be playing this. Like, see this? I wouldn't be playing this. I wouldn't be playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I love that game. And just to make sure, just to let you guys know, hold on a sec. Just to let you guys know that I am a huge Assassin's Creed fan. Assassin's Creed 1, Assassin's Creed Ezio Trilogy, Assassin's Creed America's Collection. I still haven't played Liberations. We're gonna check that out. Assassin's Creed Rogue. I'm telling you, it may be my least favorite, but it's not a terrible game. I love it. I love this game. And Assassin's Creed Syndicate. I have Unity, Origins, and Black Flag on my Xbox in my library. I have them all there. I have basically almost every single game except for Odyssey, which I don't plan on playing anytime soon because I didn't like the way I didn't like the way they went about creating that, but I don't know much about the game yet, so I want to see if I can play the game first, and then I can give my opinion on it. It's old, like you guys probably won't even care, but it's like, you know, like I don't know enough about the game, so I need to figure that out. Dang, 10 minutes in. But yeah, Rogue, as much as I love the story, I didn't like the reused gameplay from Black Flag. It just seemed like a couple of upgrades. The ships worked exactly the same. The graphics were almost exactly the same. It was cool seeing like certain characters from past games, but yeah, it didn't work for me. Assassin's Creed, when they were coming out with an Assassin's Creed, they came out with an Assassin's Creed game like every single year. You had hold on a second, because I can do this right now. They came out with an Assassin's Creed game every year, and it drove me crazy because I liked it. I like it when gaming companies take their time. Of course, you gotta wait a little longer, but it makes the game even better because you see all the work put in. Look, see, Assassin's Creed 2 came out in 2009, Brotherhood 2010, Revelations 2011, 3 2012, like Black Flag 2013, Rogue and Unity came out in the same year, 2014. You gotta work on one game and then go to the other. I'm not telling game developers how to do their job. I'm just saying what I would have done, because clearly Unity was not finished. There were so many glitches. There were so many things that should have been patched. I didn't like the game. Unity was sort of an experiment. And again, like guys, I'm not hating on Ubisoft. These are just things that I thought about the games at the time, and I say these things because what I'm saying now makes the modern games, makes the games that they came out later on with look even better, and they do. They look 10 times better than the past Assassin's Creed games. When I played Assassin's Creed Origins, dude, that was a beautiful game. The environment was great. The fighting was great. I loved the crafting. I loved the armors that you got. Assassin's Creed Origins was great. It was a long game, but it was good. It was so fun to play. It was so different. It was different than any other Assassin's Creed game that I had ever played. Now, I haven't played Odyssey yet. I'm gonna see if I can check that out, but I don't have an opinion on it yet. I'm playing Valhalla. So far, so good. The game is great. I love the voice acting. The environment looks really, really good. The fighting is great. I think the stamina is going to take some getting used to. I didn't like it in the beginning at first, but I see what they did there. It's to challenge you more, which is a good thing, because, you know, video games aren't challenging. They don't turn out to be as fun. Now, if a game is too challenging, there's a problem there, because sometimes they'll put you in a trap and you can't do anything because the game is set like this. I have a problem with that, but this is a story for another video. Now, Assassin's Creed Rogue, bottom line, great story. They could have used different gameplay. I don't even want to talk about Unity, man. Unity was a disappointment, and I played that game a couple years after it came out. People were still like going on about like how bad it was, and I played it a couple times. I never finished the game because that thing was ridiculously glitchy. That thing was crazy glitching out. I couldn't play that game. I can't play games like that. So, you know, like, yeah, Assassin's Creed Rogue was okay. Unity was, I'm sorry Ubisoft, Unity was garbage. It's not to hate on them, but they had to put in more work, and that's what they did. They worked hard on Origins, man. When they came out with Origins, there was so much work put into that game. I loved it. I loved that game. Let's see. I think another one of my least favorite Assassin's Creed. I might only get to like 3 games because other than Rogue and 3, not many really gave me problems. I think the one that really gave me some problems, not really gave me problems, I wasn't as excited about the game when I played it, was Revelations. I didn't like how the character models were altered. I didn't like the way they were changed. They looked a little weird. I kind of preferred the ones from Brotherhood or 2. Those were alright with me. Yeah, they just looked weird. They just looked a little weird. I can understand what they did for Brotherhood because you saw like Ezio like evolving, and they had introduced new mechanics. They had the crossbow and everything. You had you were being able to summon assassins and go to all of these spots and conquer them and turn them into Assassin's Creed bases. Like, those were good. Those were fun to do. That's what separated Brotherhood from 2. What, in my opinion, didn't separate Revelations from Brotherhood was that it almost did exactly the same. Now those battle scenes where you like got to where you got to appoint like certain assassins at certain places to keep those crazy guards from coming in and breaking down walls. That stuff was unique. That was great. I had never played an Assassin's Creed game like that. I love Revelations. I just think a couple things could have been tweaked. They could have kept the same gaming models, and they could have yeah, I mean, there were some things that they could have changed, but like, it was the game of its time. I'm not gonna hate on it like anymore, and I never really hated on it. It was great because it was a game that was concluding Ezio's story, or concluding an important part of Ezio's life. Now, some of you are probably going to say, oh, but Ezio didn't change at all throughout Revelations. He was exactly the same. Why are you hating on Connor? No, that's not the same thing. Ezio did change. His character in Revelations showed how much he changed through 2 and Brotherhood. That's where the third game in his trilogy was good. That's where I saw that. I saw that he changed. He was a master. He was a mentor. He was a master assassin. Ezio was a boss. You can't tell me that Ezio not changing at the age of 54 is a surprise. No, he's gonna pretty much stay the same way that he is now. He's gonna stay that way. He's 54. He's not getting any older. Well, I mean, if you look at some of the later Assassin's Creed games, you understand. But yeah, like, to be honest, not really many other Assassin's Creed games ever really gave me a problem. Now look, I haven't played Liberations yet, but from what I saw in the trailer, I saw the trailer a couple years ago. I watched the trailer a couple years ago. I never really looked at gameplay for it, but from what I saw, it didn't look that good. It looked like a DLC. I don't know, maybe it was a DLC for 3, but it didn't look well developed. It looked like it was so underdeveloped. It looked like it was completely like ignored, like no one paid attention to it. So I'm gonna play that. I'm gonna figure out, because I wanna actually try a walkthrough for that. I don't know how long it is. I don't know what the length of the video game is, but I'm gonna figure that out, because the game looked fun. The gameplay wasn't terrible, but it was definitely different from 3. But Connor was a sort of bland character. Connor was he was just a bland character. He didn't like surprise me or anything. There wasn't much to his character. He was so serious, and he was so bent up on going up against all of the Templars. I understood that, but he never really changed, and you barely saw the dude smile. Come on. Like, the dude was ridiculously serious. Even Ezio, the boss, like, Ezio, the greatest assassin ever. I don't care what any of you guys say. There's no disputing that Ezio Auditore da Firenze is the greatest assassin in the entire franchise. I mean, Eivor might change my mind, but I gotta figure that out. Yeah, other than that, the only games that really gave me trouble were 3 and Rogue. Rogue was cool, but it was too much like 4 with regards to gameplay. And 3, Connor wasn't the best Assassin's Creed character, and they shouldn't have killed Desmond. That was a bad move on Ubisoft's part. Now, my opinions can change. They have changed over time. I used to think that that Rogue was a terrible game because that it was just like Assassin's Creed, because it was similar to Assassin's Creed Black Flag. But I later on thought, hey, this game is a lot better than other games that I've played before. I think Rogue is better than 3, clearly, because there was a point in time where I thought 3 was better than Rogue because I liked how serious Connor was. But then I had realized that Connor was too bland of a character, whereas Shay Patrick from Rogue was a really good character. You saw him change. You saw him change his outlook. You saw him change his opinions about how the Assassins and the Templars worked. That was a really good way of making the game. I love the story of Rogue. I tell you this, they could have put Unity away and put more development into Rogue, and Rogue could have been a better game. Like, it definitely could have been a better game. It definitely could have been a better game if they had like, slid Unity back in the file cabinet, pulled that out maybe a couple years after Rogue was out, and maybe they could have made Unity better. I don't have much to say about Syndicate. Syndicate was a very long game. I love the grappling hook though. It was like playing Batman. It's not a bad comparison. It's not a bad comparison. It was a really unique video game. It was just long. That was pretty much it. I loved the fighting. Syndicate wasn't terrible. But yeah, Rogue 3, I keep repeating myself. Rogue 3 and Revelations. Revelations wasn't terrible. It was just a bit too similar to Brotherhood. But yeah, guys, that is pretty much it. It's a long video. Geez, 20 minutes? Well, that's about to be 21 minutes. Yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I don't normally do videos like this, but I felt like talking about it. Yeah, give me your opinions. If you're an Assassin's Creed fan, please give me your opinions. 2 cents. Out.